Hello everyone, and welcome to the November 2023 Energetic Insights. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Depika Mystery, and I'm an intuitive guide, energy healer, coach, and a consultant. And for over 4 years now, I've been sharing these insights on a month-by-month basis. And it's really geared up for those of you that are becoming more and more consciously aware of your intuitive and energetic abilities and are looking for some practical guidance to help you to navigate your way through. So if that sounds like you, welcome, you're here at the right place. Oh my goodness. Before I dive into the energies for this month, I just really want to quickly say a massive thank you for all of you that have newly subscribed to this channel. Thank you so much for being here. And if you are watching this, please do hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. And please do go ahead and share these insights with those that you feel will need to hear these messages. Not only does it help me, but it helps those that need to hear this message. And then also finally, stay tuned to the end of the insights where I share a little bit more about the ways in which you can work with me. All right, let's move into the energies for this month. And I'm going to start off, and I think every single theme this month starts off with a direct message from the guides. And I'll go through and try and translate what I feel it means. So the guides wanted me to say this in the first instance before we go into the various different themes for this month. Okay. They're saying, listen to this month's insight with your heart. Feel the energy behind the words. Let it move through your body, mind, and emotions. You will receive a healing from us and your own personal guide team. This will challenge your thinking, your beliefs, and what you think you know. Allow yourself to process it all. So I think, and as I said, I feel that this month's insight is completely different to all the other insights. I feel that, as I'm saying all the different words this month, I feel that through listening to these words, you will also benefit by the energy that kind of comes out through behind the words, which has got nothing to do with me, which has got more to do with the guides and the guides that are working with me and your guides that are working with you. So stay as present as possible while you're listening to these insights. Also have like a notepad handy so you can journal anything that kind of comes up, and it will be like a visceral experience. So you may start to feel things coming up in your body, and it may kind of take effect say 5 to 7 days after listening to these insights. So pay attention to that, and as always, enjoy it, and I'll add in my really dodgy sense of humor as we go through this as well. So I feel that the energies this month is going to be super, super, super intense. So we all had the rebirthing that took place in October. And I feel that November, December, and until January, we're still going to be processing a lot of those that rebirthing energies. And what the guides were saying is that for those of us, and I think it's not one set of group, I think it's all of us at various different levels, where we are trying to control things or where we're trying to hold on to things. It's almost like the energies in November will kind of brush up against you quite harshly, and we'll feel the harshness of that because the universe really wants us to let go and let go of that control, let go of holding on tightly to the status quos and things that do not serve us. So although it might feel really intense and really kind of, I don't really want to do this, allow yourself to notice where you're holding on too tightly, because you'll feel that you're brushing up against something. And that's just the universe's way to say, hey, we've got you. We want to help you. Come on, it's time for you to let go of this heavy backpack you're holding. You really don't need it. It's not you don't need that security blanket anymore. You can do this. So in some ways it's really positive, but from our human perspective and that psyche, our conditioned psyche perspective, it's going to be, I don't want to do that. Some of us are going to freeze, and that's where it's going to feel a little bit harsher for us. So with that, it's really, really even more so important this month to really take your time as you process whatever is coming up for you, and to be that extra bit kinder and gentler with yourself. you know, it is going to be turbulent, especially up until the end of December, beginning of January, which was that final plot twist for this year. So it's almost kind of leading up to that. And it's very much like, you know, if you've given birth to a child, not only you as a mother change and you as a father change, but also the environment for the child has changed from being inside the womb to being outside in the outside world. So there are so many different transitional points and so many different, we're in different environments. So it's almost like we need that time right now to integrate. And what will happen, what I get the sense of, is like up until the end of January, we'll be going through this kind of rebalancing, reconfiguration, restructuring kind of energy, and it will then tend to settle towards the end of January. Just know it's not working against you, it's actually working for you, although it will feel like it's working against you and just like, oh my goodness, haven't I done everything already? Yes, you have, but this is like that kind of rebalancing, resettling type of energy. So I'm sending you all big, super warm, loving hugs, and just don't forget to hug yourself and don't forget to love yourself through this process this month. So, well, the guides also wanted to say that those of us that have kind of been really working with our intuition and moving with our intuition this year, I mean, we've been moving with these energies. It will feel slightly less turbulent, although it will still be turbulent, but it will be forced to go a little bit deeper. So we'll be forced to go a little bit deeper into the human level, the human psyche, where we will find that little bit more clarity. So we'll get a better understanding about the journey, the purpose behind it, and it's almost like it's been predestined and to happen, to play out the way that it needed to play out. So this is going to guide us to trust more. So go deeper within ourselves. And for some of us, what we'll find is that it will awaken new energetic psychic abilities as well. So, you know, there's a lot that's still going on, and, you know, we'll all be experiencing that on various different levels as well. And it will still be that little bit turbulence. We're not quite through that turbulent times at the moment. Right. Before I kind of go back and revisit the themes for October, the guides want to have an overall message for all of us for this month. And they're saying, let the universe and your guide team lead the way on your new path. It is unknown. I'm going to start that again because I've absolutely messed it up, botched it up completely. I'm not even reading the stuff that I've written properly. Okay, so the guides are saying, let the universe and your guide team lead you on your new path. It's unknown and you don't have a map, but the universe and the guide team do. You designed it that way so that your trust muscle can be strengthened and your connection to yourself can be reconfigured. So remember that as you go through the energies this month in December and into January. So before we move on to the first theme, let's take a moment to revisit the themes from October, which I feel are still going to be relevant. And what we'll see is how these themes are so interlinked to each other, and it's kind of guiding us and helping us to navigate the energies that are coming through and how best to utilize them. So the 4 key themes for October were psychic awareness, desires, birthing a new me, and ocean waves. So if any of those resonate, do go back and watch the October insights. And I would also suggest watching the September one, because I feel that that is the start of this birthing process. So there'll be some insights in that just to kind of give you an overview of what we're kind of moving through. Okay, let's move on to the first theme. And the first theme for this month is called Expectations and Projection Awareness. And I'm going to start it off again with a direct message from the guides. And the guides say, your expectations, be it on yourself, others, life situation, and the world, will be your greatest suffering, as will the inability to take responsibility of your projections. So just take a moment to take that message in. And allow yourself to feel any resistance or tightness that may be coming up in your body. Feel any of the emotion that rises up from you. And just notice any thoughts that are coming up, any narratives that are starting to kind of go into overdrive. Because that message is a little bit triggering. And it can trigger quite a few of us, depending on, what are we what expectations that we're holding on to, what are we projecting, because it's really saying to us, hey, now is the time to take that responsibility. And what they're also saying is because this energy, there's a beautiful opportunity this month to really raise our level of awareness and really release the energies of victimhood, the rescuer, and the perpetrator narratives. And what the guides are also saying is that if you are one, you are all. So I feel that when we start to have a look at our expectations and what we're projecting, we have no choice but to look at where we're playing the victim role, where we're playing the rescuer, and where we're playing the perpetrator. And as the guide says, if we're playing one, we're playing all of them. So this is really helping us to up level and raise our level of awareness. And many of us are just like, no, I am comfortable in my poop and I want to stay there. I don't want to do the inner work because I don't want to look at myself. And I totally get that, and I totally understand that, and it is horrible, I tell you from experience. But I will also tell you from experiences that even though it is profoundly difficult to look at your stuff, it is also very, very liberating, as long as you allow yourself to go through the process, and you will connect with the wisdom that you're just like, oh, I didn't know that this was there, and I didn't know this was inside of me. So in some ways we can't get, there's nowhere to get to. It's almost like a sense of allowing. And the more that we allow, the more that we are able to really reconnect with what we're actually searching for and desiring without consciously knowing what exactly it is. So the best way to kind of do this, so I can hear some of you guys thinking and saying like, well, okay, so how do I do this? How do I do this on a practical level? What you can do, if you have a notepad or pad, or just even every day, kind of ask yourself, what expectations do I have? What am I holding on to? And what expectations do I have on myself? What expectations do I have on other people? What expectations do I have on life situations? And what expectations do I have on the world? So it's almost like, here's the things that I'm delegating out to each and every one of you. Here's what I'm delegating to myself. Here's what I'm delegating to my family members, my work colleagues, my friends. Here's what I'm delegating out to the external situation in the world. And can you see in that situation that you are disempowering yourself? So all these questions are just trying to bring it back to yourself and to recognize those expectations, because often where we are disappointed, it's when those expectations are not met. And that's when we fall into and start to project, our anger, our disappointment, our sadness, and then we're not owning or taking responsibility for those emotions. So the first thing is to get really, really super clear of what expectations you have. And it's not pleasant, because you're going to have to admit, okay, fine, I had this expectation on that person. Crap, that is really unrealistic and that's not actually fair. And then you have to look at the expectations that you have on yourself. Maybe you're pushing yourself too hard. Maybe you're forcing yourself to do something that feels completely and utterly out of alignment. But because there's a part of you which is being conditioned by society that says you have to, because if you don't do that, then you're not a good person. So it's really going to challenge us. That's why we don't do this work. And trust me, I absolutely try and avoid it as best as possible. But, I've been having to have a look at this as well. So trust me, you're not alone on this journey. And then also go in and have a look at what are you projecting. So, and what does this actually look like? So we often are shaming other people, judging other people or situations. We may be condemning, so it's almost like we put ourselves above and put others beneath ourselves. We may be belittling, and we may just be enraged and outraged. So, this has a fiery energy. As I'm saying this, I can feel it really bubbling up inside of us, because many of us just want to kind of vomit. Our crap, because we can't deal with it because it's inside of us. And the trick with projection is these are all parts of you, all little parts of you. So there's a part, so when we're shaming something, behind the shame is a part of you that you're shaming. okay? Behind the judgment is a part of you that you're judging. And we often project it outside to other people, to other situations, because it's much easier to kind of deal with it in that way rather than to kind of have a look and sit with, okay, well, what am I really shaming? You know, because you're going to have to ask, why am I really shaming that? And you're going to have to unearth and unpick some of that to go deeper into it. And really, you know, it's really interesting because shame is so powerful. It's a very powerful kind of protective mechanism that can also really debilitate us as well. But as I said, be kind and gentle with yourself this month, because all of that will help you to process what is coming up. And whatever we're kind of projecting outwards, and we're actually doing that too, there's parts of us that are actually just really asking us to be that little bit kinder to ourselves and a little bit more compassionate, because there's parts of us that are hidden that really wants us to see it, to hear it, to hold it, and to love it. And so just sit with yourself and ask, okay, what part of me am I not seeing? What part of me am I not listening to? What part of me needs me and needs me to hold it, but I'm just rejecting it? And what part of me needs my love unconditionally? So just sit with those questions. It's going to feel very, very tender, and it's going to feel very turbulent, because it's really destabilizing, the structure of your ego, so that more of this energy of love can kind of come through. And what the guides were finally saying with this theme is that there's a massive opportunity here to really clear out some of the ancestral wounding, the inner child wounding, and past life. And I think that's why we're kind of afraid of it, because it's so deep and it covers so many different levels. That's why it can feel quite big. So take it slow, take it easy, do a bit at a time, and know that whatever you're doing is absolutely perfect, and you will be guided, and know that you're not doing any of this by yourself, because you have a team behind you that is helping you. So take it nice and slow and be gentle with yourself. All right. Let's move on to the second theme for this month, and this one is called Earth Reconfiguration. And I have another direct message from the guides here again. And they say, Dear Earth Traveler, we would like to remind you that you, yes you, have chosen to be on Earth at this time, because you are ready, and you have been training for these times of great shifts. You can do this. And no, you are not doing any of this alone, no matter how much it may feel like you are. Through your own personal reconfiguration on a human level, the collective will also be reconfigured. So I feel that, I feel this, and I was talking to a friend of mine just the other day, and I just saw this image. And I can't quite explain the image, but it's almost like it's one of those puzzles. When a puzzle is being messed up, or it's a bit messy and it's a little bit out of alignment, but all of a sudden something takes over and it just gets reconfigured. So there's this whole kind of reconfiguration of the planet, which is connected to the reconfiguration that is going on the galactic level. And I'm not even going to go into that, because I don't think I fully understand it, but the way that I'm seeing is all these different pieces are falling into place, into the right configuration, or to a new configuration. I think it's more of a new reconfiguration. And that is also means that we are doing that, each and every one of us, on a personal level, and we're going through this reconfiguration. And the way I'm also just being shown, it's like that Rubik's Cube as well. So we are kind of being reorganized, reconfigured, and restructured. And again, I feel that this is going to last until the end of January, where it will settle, and then we will be able to kind of operate from that new reconfigured, restructured energy and a way of being, I think. So what the guides are saying is that this reconfiguration will really affect our bodies. We may be feeling a little bit more tired, a little bit more heavier, Maybe we are feeling unmotivated, unable to do simple things that we're normally able to do. And this is just a sign to say, hey, take it that little bit slower, do whatever you can, rest wherever you can. You're just going through a reconfiguration process. And the other thing I'm just getting now is there's just like if you are reconfiguring a system, what will happen is that you'll do the reconfiguration and then you do like a test drive. So when we're doing that test run, what will happen is that we will be able to operate, we'll feel more motivated, and we've got all of this energy. Utilize that as and when that shows up. And then when you are feeling a little bit tired, take that time and rest, because that's when the reconfiguration is going, and it's much easier for the energies to be reconfigured when we are resting and we have slowed down versus when we are operating at full speed, which will just it will just feel like it will derail us. In this way, when we're listening, we can take advantage of the times when we have got that extra juice inside of us. And what they're saying is that this reconfiguration that many of us are going through, I think it's all of us, for some of us, it will start to become active straight away. For some of us, it will lie dormant. And so it has its own timeline that we can't control it. Each and every one of us are going to have a different timelines for these activations, and it's all tied up and it's all kind of part of a big kind of masterpiece. So all I'm being shown here is a massive program plan which has multiple projects on them, and each of the projects are connected, and certain things have to happen in a certain order, and once those things happen in those particular order, the next thing can then happen. So what I'm just saying is that this is bigger. This is like a massive kind of a spiritual journey for all of us, and we all got our little part to play in it, and knowing that our little part will play when the time is right, and we will be guided and things will be activated. So this is what I think, the guides are saying at the beginning. It's time to let go of that control and whatever we're holding on to really tightly, because this stuff cannot work through us if we're too busy doing something else and we don't have the space for it. And what I got as well, like if you are really struggling this month, really take that time out to, things that you can do for free is like grounding, being out in nature, barefoot on soil, grass, sand, and then just really connecting with your breath and taking deep breath. There's lots of kind of tools out there on the internet where you can, that help you to deeply connect with the breath. There's different types of breathing techniques, so all of this stuff that you can do for free. And also just getting yoga as well, so some people may really find yoga really useful, and those that want to take it a little bit further or need that extra bit of support or would like it, look at things that you can do in terms of somatic practices, trauma work, body work. Rolfing is good, shiatsu is good, cranial therapy is good, and also, I think this is just me putting it in because this is something that I love and I haven't done for a very long time, is sauna and cold plunges. Anything with the body, anything that you can do with the body will be very, very, very beneficial this month. All right, let's move on to the third theme for this month. And the third theme is called Love, Loss and Grief. And again, I have a message directly from the guides, and they are saying, you do not wish to love, yet you long for love that touches your soul. You do not wish to love, as to love is to lose all that you are. You do not wish to love for the fear of drowning in your grief. You must lose all that you are to enter the tunnel of grief. You must grieve all that you have lost to come back to the wholeness that you are. Just take a minute there. That's another really, really deep message. And I feel that these energies of love, loss and grief have been moving through us since the second plot twist, which I think was end of June, beginning of July. So many of us have been feeling this or entering this kind of love, loss, grief cycle, and it really is a cycle. And I think what the guides are showing us by this message is, and then I'm also seeing as a circular diagram, that we love, there's loss, and then there's grief, and it's cyclical. And oftentimes we think our feelings, we think we're in love, we think this is what love is. So we're kind of protecting us from really feeling what love is, because we know that if we were to feel love, at some point we're going to lose something. And if we were to really feel the loss, we're going to have to grieve. And we do not want to get stuck. When we're in love, loss, grief cycle, we have no control. We just have to trust the process and move through it with our emotions. It's not something that we can think our way through, and it's not something that has an expiry date. It is a cyclical process that it's almost like the muscles for that process is really underdeveloped, because we use our minds for pretty much everything, and even for our emotions. We think our feelings rather than feel our feelings. So then we're kind of holding up a barrier. And that's why they're saying that we long for this love that touches our soul. But how can we have that love that touches our soul if we're still thinking what love is? So, and we don't want to love because we're afraid of what we will lose in the process of loving. And then we don't want to lose anything because we have to go into this space of grief, and we don't even know when we'll come out of that space of grief. But again, they're saying we need to grieve. So it's such a beautiful kind of say, we must grieve all that we have lost so that we can come back to the wholeness. And it is such a beautiful, beautiful cyclical process. And I'm really excited by this, because you know what? It is hard. It is unbelievably hard. But when you can trust it and go into it and feel it, oh my goodness, there is this kind of, how can I put it into words? There is a lightness to this, but an incredible expansiveness. And it's like you never want to have it any other way but this, even though you have to feel the pain of the grief. There is something so much bigger than that. I really wish I had the words, and I can't explain it. I just know through experience, but I have no words to kind of explain this. So let me see what else the guides have said to help explain this. What they're also saying is that we have been trained not to feel, and that is so, so, so true. So we don't really know what it feels like to love unconditionally or authentically, yet we desire it. And I'm generalizing here because I know there's so many of you that have experienced unconditional and authentic love. But what I think, this is just a general message, we tend to think it because it's much safer in that way. And then just think about the ways in which we shame and we judge, when people are expressing their emotions, especially like in our work environments, or even in friendship groups, or even in families, where as a little child you may get told not to cry. Crying is for babies, and you could only be 5 or 7 and you're getting told off for crying. And that is the conditioning, that it's like, oh, I'm not allowed to feel my emotions, I'm not allowed to express it, so we suppress it. So what I think with this love and loss is that it's also allowing whatever we have suppressed to be released. So that is, we're losing that. It's almost like we're losing everything that we've kind of suppressed. So therefore, it will feel like it's liberating, but it will also feel scary, because whatever we have suppressed, any emotions that we have suppressed, that became an identity of ours. But when we really truly love, and to create that space for love, we need to release the identities that we've acquired that no longer serves us. But bear in mind, whatever no longer serves us right now, it did have a place back when it needed to be there. So what they're also saying is that we have been taught to fear loss. As, oh gosh, this is really cool. So it's almost like when we lose something, we think what I got is that this kind of dead end. So we have been taught to fear loss, because if we lose something, it's the end of the world. That's it. Game over. Dead end. That's it. But what the guides are saying, it's not. It definitely is not. It's a cycle that renews the energy of unconditional love for ourselves and others, and ultimately for the planet as a whole. So just remember that. So when you're losing something, it creates space, and when you're grieving, that also creates another level of space, so that more love can actually come in and move through you. So I hope that makes sense. That is But I'm kind of excited by that, this theme, but there's a lot that is there in this theme. And if that is resonating with you and you want to unpack it a little bit more, come and join the energetic alignment sessions, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that towards the end of this video. Okay, let's move on to theme 4, and this one is called the void. And again, I've got a message from the guides, and the guides want to say, the void is a place for you to take refuge. It will feel very uncomfortable for those that have never known safety. Do not flee. Learn to embrace. It is a place to rest deeply as your systems are reconfigured. You are not who you were, and you are not who you will become. You are the void. So, I feel that this theme and the energies over the next, up until the end of January, I feel that we're going to be in this holding space. And I remember something that my mentor has been saying to me for a while now, and I still fight it. She says, Depika, you know, you can sit on a chair for an entire week and the world will look so different when you get off that chair, because the universe is moving around you and moving pieces around you, so you don't have to do anything. And she says that to me all the time, and I'm just like totally fighting it. It's totally being completely and utterly stubborn about it, but it's so true. And I just get this, you know, I get ants in my pants when I'm sitting and doing nothing. It's part of who I am, and I'm very aware of it. And, you know, I do have to kind of take my time and sit myself down and just kind of let the ants in my pants bite my bottom. It is one of those things, you know, because we do get really uncomfortable kind of standing still and being in the stillness. That's why many of us have got ants in our pants to kind of keep us going and moving. But actually, it is actually to utilize this void energy this month so that we can rest and the reconfiguration can take place. So what can you do for yourself this month that will nourish you? You know, what are you doing this month, and what habits that you play out that distract you, that, you know, could it be a job, could it be excess partying, drinking, indulging, you know, or just being busy. And then also have a look at what badges of honor are you carrying. Oh, look at me, I'm so great because I've done a 60-hour week. Trust me, that was me. I would probably be comparing myself to, yeah, I've just done 65 hours a week and I've gone out partying, and this is back decades ago, a couple of decades ago. But yeah, it is something that I used to wear with a badge of honor. So what are you wearing with a badge of honor that actually you don't really need? It doesn't serve you, and it hinders you, and it stops you from nourishing yourself. So this is all about resting and balance. So where can you be more aligned and in harmony with who you truly are? And this void, and think about it, it's a place of transition and transformation, very much like a caterpillar that goes into its cocoon. You cannot rush the process. You cannot pull the butterfly out. The caterpillar needs to go through the transformation, and when it's ready, does it come out as a butterfly out of the cocoon. So this is what the void is all about this month. You cannot rush the process. Okay, that is it for this month. Thank you so much for watching these insights. And if you have enjoyed them, as always, do go ahead and share them. Share these insights with your loved ones, your families, your friends, and your colleagues. Leave a comment below. Give us a thumbs up on YouTube. And then if you haven't already subscribed, do subscribe to this channel. And I just want to say that, you know, because this was quite an intense insight, just take your time and just notice what shows up. I think there'll be some aha moments that many of us will get after watching these insights. And so just rest, ground, and drink plenty of water. If you feel something is coming up, that will just help you to process it. And then if you are needing some extra support this month, as always, we've got our group healing journeys. which is taking place on Sunday the 19th of November, I think, at our usual time at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. UK time, and 7 p.m. Central European time. And the theme this month is love, loss, and grief. And then I'm also I'm not resetting or relaunching, I'm just reopening back my one-to-one sessions. So you can head over to my website and I'll leave a link below, and you can then book yourself into a 1-hour session or a 90-minute session for some healing and some energy work. And that's all there, and it's on offer for the whole month of November. So just go ahead and book that in. Otherwise, take it slow, be extra kind and gentle with yourself, and just sending you really big, 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 big warm hugs. All right, take care and see you next month. Bye for now.